Mr. Wick, welcome back.
There's a Somali in.
You know where to find him.
Good evening, Mr. Wick. It's been a long time.
I'd like a tasting. Do you recommend something for the end of the night? Something big, bold?
Certainly. May I suggest the Beretta A300? EOTech E-Flex for quicker acquisition. A Streamline HLX for anything that may go bump in the night. S-Tac sleeve for faster reloads. An Italian classic with an American presence. Mr. Wick, do enjoy your party.
I will.
Mr. Wick, are you working again?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my backyard, and of course welcome back to the Tree of Wisdom. I think is what I called it in the last video I did back here. Don't judge my backyard too harshly. Winter was not kind to my backyard, and I hope that the dog isn't doing anything disgusting in the background. So today we've got a video about a gun that I really like, but that I will admit has had some problems. And that is going to be my Beretta A300 Ultima Patrol. Now, the way this video is kind of going to go, is I'm going to go over the setup of this particular gun, how I've got it put together. Kind of going to go over the purpose of it for me. Going to talk about the experiences I've had with it, the problems, the things that I like about it, how it's run, yada, yada, yada. And then at the very end of the video, I'm gonna put in a segment I shot out at the range where I show you kind of how this gun feeds and shoots different types of ammo. So I'm gonna show you the patterns at different distances. And I think it's a pretty cool little segment to show you exactly how a shorter barreled shotgun, not a short barreled shotgun, but a shorter barreled shotgun handles all that. But before we get into all that, I would love to shout out the new channel sponsor. And that channel sponsor is Ozark Armory here in Springdale, Arkansas. Now, Ozark Armory is a very cool shop. Ozark Armory has a lot of cool people that work at it, and I think it'd be really cool if you went into Ozark Armory and checked them out. If you can't do that, check them out on Facebook, check them out on Instagram. They have everything you could possibly want. They've got a lot of very knowledgeable people there. Ask them questions, go hang out, check out what they got. They've helped us out, and I would like for them to help you out. And all that being said, we're all helping each other out. So check out Ozark Armory. We love them. They help the channel. on to the review. So now, the Beretta A300 Ultima Patrol is a tactical shotgun, kind of meant more for home defense, police setups, you know, that sort of thing. So this barrel is 19 inches long. It is semi-automatic. It holds 7 in the tube, 1 in the chamber, for 8 total. And it's overall a pretty cool shotgun. Has a Picatinny section, has some m-lok slots, has a fiber optic front sight, and then a little peephole rear sight there. So cool shotgun. Now, before I get into the details of it, I'm gonna kind of show you how I have it set up. So first and foremost, obviously I have spray painted it. Down here on the right side, it's 6 o'clock, or I guess more like 4 or 5 o'clock, I have a Streamlight HLX 750 lumen light. And then I've got my pressure pad running down the side here. So when I'm carrying this guy, I can pretty easily activate it in a comfortable position, but I can also bring it up a little bit further and not worry about hitting that light on accident if I'm really wanting to control the gun. Right here I have a Rebels Raiders sling attachment. It's basically just some paracord and a little attachment point that you can put a sling through. Of course, I've got a Vickers Blue Force Gear adjustable sling. And then on the back, I have another Rebels Raiders sling attachment point. Really nice setup for me, for my purposes. More on why I'm not using these sling attachment points, the QD slots, on the actual gun itself later in the video. Moving on back, you'll probably notice that the EOTech in the beginning of the video is not on there anymore. It wasn't performing how I wanted it to, so I've taken it off and I'm evaluating the red dot. More on that in a second as well. Of course, on the back side here, as you saw in the intro, I have an S-Tac sleeve with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double-aught shells there. Of course, you can take this on and off, put different slings on there once this one runs dry, but I've really liked this setup. And really, that is all there is to it. Without that red dot in there, it is pretty well stocked. Of course, then obviously I've got my world's most famous, favorite multicam wrap, kind of keeping that sling on there. Okay, so now that I've got my setup out of the way, let's talk about this shotgun and how it's performed for me. Things I like, things I don't like. So I got this shotgun used with very low round count on it. We'll talk about the performance and reliability first, and then I'm going to get into the features of this and how they've worked for me. So when I first got the shotgun, first few hundred rounds through it, it was perfect. It was bomb-proof, very reliable, was feeding shells, very few malfunctions, running all the way through the tube, no problems at all. After a few hundred rounds, I started having a really weird issue where on the very last round, very last round, the last shell coming out of the tube was getting caught. And you've seen this in the intro a couple times, but it was getting caught obviously on the top of the lifter here, but the shell was just barely poking out of the tube. And all you'd have to do, as you saw, is just kind of rack the charging handle a little bit, and it would send it home into the chamber. Now that problem, it's weird to me because it's non-ammo dependent. So whether it's the most like heavily loaded double-aught or slugs, or the most light bird shot, the malfunction would happen. And what was even weirder is when I hip fired the gun, not like with a really nice shoulder and cheek weld, when I hip fired the gun, it would cycle all the way through. The problems were happening about 50% of the time, only when I was shouldering the shotgun like I was supposed to. So I've reached out to Beretta about the problem. I've talked to some local guys at the gun shops. They've all said it's a relatively common problem with the A300. And it's fixable, but it is still frustrating that I'm having to deal with that. So I don't know. I initially thought that maybe it was a weak spring in the tube. Beretta tells me that it's this latch right here that keeps the shells from coming out of the tube until they're ready to be fed. I forget what they call that. Doesn't really matter. Regardless, it's a problem I've been having with reliability, and I am not overly happy with that. Now, like I said, it's 50% of the time, it's kind of unpredictable. Don't necessarily know what's going on, but it's a hassle that I have to get this fixed. So I figured instead of doing the video where I had already gotten the problem fixed, I would do a video to tell you that there is a problem that I have to get fixed. So another thing that's been an issue for me is the Picatinny rail section up here. Now I'm currently trying to chase down what the actual problem is, but with the EOTech E-Flex mounted on here, I was having problems with it holding zero. Now I did discover that the Picatinny section was coming loose on me, so that's part of the problem. Tightened it up, I'm still kind of having a problem with my zero. So what I'm trying to do now is confirm whether it's the Picatinny section or whether it's this EOTech E-Flex right here. So basically, in order to rule out one or the other, I'm just going to be shooting this EOTech on my CZ here and kind of seeing if it holds zero on here. If it holds zero on here, then I can probably rule out that the problem was actually the Picatinny section on the shotgun and not the sight itself. But regardless, that's one difference between how I've got it set up now and what the intro video was. So I like the EOTech on there. I thought it was cool. I like the idea of a red dot on the shotgun. The whole idea for me was to zero this thing at like 25 yards with slugs, and then hopefully the shot pattern from double aught was kind of centered around that zero, that red dot. So anyway, disappointing, but working on figuring that out. Now, obviously, stuff like that, I don't like to harp on too much because I could just Loctite this and then screw it back in and it should hold. But it's been an issue. Now, while we're on the subject of the Picatinny, with the EOTech on here and with any red dot on here, basically, your deck height on that red dot is so high on this mount that you can't co-witness through the iron sights. And I like a little bit of redundancy in my sighting systems, so for that reason, I like the ability to mount a red dot, but it's not an ideal red dot mounting solution. Now, there are plenty of companies out there who offer much lower mounts for red dots with specific mounting footprints that you can just unscrew this section and put that right on the receiver, which may be something I do in the future, depending on what my findings are on the wandering zero on this. So now that I've got the problems out of the way, let me talk about what I really do like about this shotgun. And really, a lot of what I like about this shotgun is that it's just a shotgun. It's very versatile. It can run many different types of shot shells, and it being a semi-auto with a spring-loaded system, a gas operating system that captures a lot of the recoil. Stuff like this, super hot, double-aught buck and slugs are a lot more manageable than what like a Remington 870 or like a single shot or double barrel shotgun would be. The spring just helps with the recoil. So that's really all there is to it. It's fun running a shotgun. They're a different animal. I'm not a huge shotgun guy. But since I got this is actually the first shotgun I ever bought, I've really enjoyed kind of the challenges of keeping a shotgun fed and running it. And I'm by no means great at it, but I like the challenge. So let's talk about some features that are questionable on the A300. And a lot of that comes down to, for me, it's the usability of the m-lok slots and the QD attachment points. So we've got QD points up here, m-lok slots here and on the bottom, and then we've got a QD attachment point back here on the bottom. Now, I've got my sling set up how I set it up on my ARs, basically, where I can run it, you know, off the right side. That way I can move the shotgun up and down and not have the sling getting caught up and keeping me from actually moving it around. If that makes sense, then you've probably run a sling setup like this. If that doesn't make sense, shoot, let me just show you real quick. So the sling's back here on this side. I can do stuff like this, and the sling moves with me. That's really all there is to it. So these QD slots, they have no stops on them. So your QD points can just rotate infinitely, basically, in the QD slots, which is a problem because your sling will get tangled up. So not cool. And then your other QD slot I have covered up, but it's right back here. So that really limits how you're able to mount the sling. And having a sling mounted on the very bottom does not let me do any of that. It basically leaves the sling to only be here, which is basically only good for slinging the shotgun on your back. Which, if that's what you're doing, if you're hunting or something and you only want to sling the shotgun on your back to carry it, super cool. I like to be able to set it up like this so I have some type of retention just in case someone tries to grab this and take it from me. Now, I fully recognize that that's probably not going to happen, but if I were to conduct my life in a way where I think things probably won't happen, then I wouldn't have this in the first place, and I would be woefully unprepared for any type of crazy situation that might come up. So I run it like this. Handguard, m-lok slots. You know, you've only got your 3 o'clock, your 9 o'clock, and your 6 o'clock. It's fine. I did have some problems trying to run this 45-degree Streamlight m-lok mount for this light. I wanted to run it up here, but with the way the angle was and the way that this plastic on the handguard goes up, you just can't run it like that. You can't run it offset up here by the barrel because the plastic itself gets in the way of that 45-degree angle. I hope that makes sense. But basically, you could only run like straight mounts to where the light is 3 o'clock hanging off the side. You wouldn't be able to do 45 cant with this particular mount. Now, I only tried a couple of other, actually one other different mount, an Arasaka 45-degree, and it didn't work either, so unfortunate. Now, this is a plastic handguard, and it has very, very aggressive grip on the bottom here. I actually really like it. It's very, very grippy. It's plastic, it's lightweight, no real problems with that. And then, of course, we've just got our traditional shotgun stock. I would like to have a pistol grip, but this is fine too. It's good. Helps you get up there and shoulder it real quick, be right on the sights. So, cool there. No problems. This is a very lightweight shotgun, which is nice. Now, when it's fully loaded, obviously it gets heavier, but it's no big deal. Now, you might be wondering, hey, this looks just like the 1301 tactical shotgun, and you would be correct. And you might also be wondering, what are the differences? Well, a few differences. Basically, it comes down to the gas operating system that the A300 and the 1301 work on, and it comes down to like barrel materials and all that. The 1301 is going to have much nicer materials that it's made out of. You can get online and look at the specifics of that. Like I've said before, I'm not a metallurgy scientist, so don't don't ask me about that. And then the gas operating mechanism that the 1301 uses is just a better, more reliable gas mechanism. It's got a rotating bolt. This one does not. I'm not going to delve into the specifics of those because, once again, I think I'd be speaking way outside of my lane there. But just know that the 1301 is going to be a more reliable shotgun with better materials. So, with all that being said, this is a shotgun that I like. I really do. But it has had a few issues straight out of the box that have been difficult for me to kind of work through. So would I recommend this shotgun? I would say yes, with a huge caveat, because you might have the same problems as me. If this shotgun were to work really, really, really well all the time, I would love it. But right now, I would kind of say maybe save yourself a little bit of hassle and get the 1301. I've seen them for not much more than the A300s in shops, and the 1301 is just a better shotgun. And it's almost identical if you go with the tactical version that I have. So, man, that's all I've got for you guys. I'm gonna throw up the shot dispersion section where I show you how the different shots go at different distances now. So check that out if you're interested in that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna test 4 different types of ammo through this shotgun. Now this is, of course, the A300 Ultima Patrol 18-inch-ish barrel, completely cylindrical choke. There's no choke in here. There's no anything at all. So completely smooth bore. Nothing helping to spread these patterns tighter, or not spread them tighter, I guess is a better way to put it. So what we're gonna do is take some Winchester, or sorry, not Winchester, Federal Top Gun. This is gonna be your 8-shot target load. See all those datas right there. This is gonna be your typical like trap shooting stuff that you find at a shotgun range. We're gonna take some Winchester Super X 5-shot. See those stats right there? This will be high brass, a little bit higher velocity stuff, 1330 velocity on that. I'm gonna take some Winchester Military Double-Aught Buck. There's 9 pellets Double-Aught Buck. This stuff is pretty spicy. And finally, last but not least, I have some Sterling Tornado Competition slugs. Be a 28-gram, 1-ounce slug. Of course, it is a rifled slug. We'll see how well that does. Now, quick note on all that. First and foremost, all the ammo came from Ozark Armory. Check them out. Good people there. Except for this this tornado slug stuff, I had this garbage slug ammo laying down in the bottom of my ammo bin for a little while, so I pulled this out. Luckily, I had some to test out some slugs. Another quick note: I'm getting pretty abysmal accuracy right now with the EOTech on this Picatinny mount. Now, here's the deal, though. I'm not quite sure if it is the Picatinny mount, which has come loose on me, or whether it's the EOTech E-Flex, which has a dubious reputation. Regardless, I'm going to take the EOTech off, and I'm going to use the iron sights on the shotgun for this test. I think that eliminates a variable, so we can kind of get a really much better idea of how accurate this shotgun is, and how it spreads these different loads as the distance goes on. My initial plan was to zero this at 25 yards, and hopefully that is my where the slug hits centers around where my double-aught buckshot pattern is. But with this not holding 0, that's just not going to work. So what we've got down here is 3 targets. Sorry, the camera is crooked here, but you're going to have to deal with it. We got one at 10 yards, one at 25, and then one way down there at 50. And I'm going to shoot all these groups from the bench rest. First thing I'm going to do is load up the slugs, take a shot with each one, and kind of see where these irons are putting us. And we'll use that as a reference for the rest of the shots that we take to see how the spread kind of gathers around that slug shot. So we're using irons. My past experience with the irons on this is that they are pretty well spot on. So as long as I can take a good shot, and as long as these slugs are worth anything, we should get a pretty good idea of how this goes. I'm going to be aiming center mass on all of these targets. So without further ado, all right, not bad. 10-yard looked decent. Let's check that. 25. It's a hit. That looks like dead center. We'll go check it, but I think we are. I'm still gonna hold center mass on this. Actually, I might aim neck level just to be sure we get on paper. We'll see if that was a hit. Okay. Slug, 10 yard.
Over here. Ooh, nice.
Slug, 25 yard. I think it's safe to say that the irons are pretty well zeroed for 25 yards.
And then our 50-yard target. Remember, I aimed for the neck on this one. Okay.
And I am not seeing any slug on the paper here. I am pretty sure it was a good shot. Of course, the back is pretty chewed up. I can't quite tell which of these slugs is from previous. There's one right there too, it looks like. So let's just keep in the back of our minds that we're not super accurate, but maybe we're in the ballpark. Sorry, that's the best I can give you right now. I'm gonna load up 3 of the military grade double-aught buck. Gonna do the same thing, except I think I'm gonna aim center mass on the 50-yard one this time. Let's just see what we get. Eliminating variables. I keep saying these words. I don't know if I really know what they mean. Okay, 10 yard. 25 yard. And 50 yard. All right, here is our 10-yard spread on that double-aught buck. So we have 9 little, roughly 9mm pellets, and then a wad right there. Wad's like right in the center. Pellets are all gathered around. So it's spread out, I don't know, that much, but a hand size. This guy can barely palm a basketball, if that gives you the size of my hands. It's a schmedium. Okay, a large, not a schmedium, a medium large.
Okay, 25 yard.
Okay, interesting. All right, so remember, there is our slug from before. We have 1 pellet here, 1 pellet here, 1 pellet here. Probably the wad right here, another pellet here, and another pellet right here. So that's decent. I think you know, obviously a choke or a longer barrel would probably keep that together better.
But at 25 yards, it's not going to be good for whatever's on the other end of that barrel. And then we have our 50 yard.
All right, so 50 yard. That's from a previous test. We're gonna knock that one out. This is new, and that is new. So, it's hard telling which of these other holes is from a previous test or this test, but remember, we're just going for this silhouette, which is smaller than an average silhouette. So take that for what it's worth. We have one pellet on target and one pellet just off target. Now, if we're doing a standard size silhouette, we've got at least 2. 3 rounds of our Super X 5-shot. There's those specs if you care to read them. 10 yard. Wow, stuff's pretty spicy too. 25. Whew. Is that shell hanging up again? And then 50, center mass once again. Lord have mercy. Okay, there's your 5-shot. Yeah, it completely peppered that silhouette. And you know what? Honestly, the vast majority is on the actual silhouette itself. So cool. Double aught, double aught, double aught, slug, wad from double aught, double aught, double aught, double aught, double aught. We might have sent that other wad right through here too. But yeah, there's your 5-shot at 10 yards.
Okay, 5-shot.
At 25. Okay, we can see that. We still actually peppered that pretty good. I don't see where the wad would have gone, but you see quite a few pellets that have hit that paper and hit that silhouette. So, very cool.
And then we're gonna go check the 50-yarder. Okay, so yeah, that's not bad, okay.
So 50 yards, pellet, 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 and a few other pellets right here. So, and then one up here. So, we were hitting it. Penetration on these is not super great. Looks like a few of these didn't quite go all the way through that paper into that cardboard. But we did hit it. Now, last and certainly most likely least, we're gonna do 3 rounds of our Federal Top Gun 8-shot. 10 yards. It's definitely smoother shooting than the other ones. 25. Hung up again. And 50. Who knows where that went? Okay, now I realize on camera this is going to be relatively hard to tell the difference here, but we can see pretty clearly on this white, that right there, oh no, you can't because it's not high enough. There we go. This right here is a 5-shot. These little guys right here are our 8-shots. So, a lot of 8-shot all around the target as well as all inside. Yeah, that's pretty decent. And we can see a lot of these kind of coming in sideways here, kind of cutting across the paper, which is interesting. I think that wad once again just went right through the middle of that. So, pretty good showing on the bird shot there. This is definitely not going to be fun if you're on the receiving end.
That's 25 yards. Maybe some of our bird hunters and trap shooters can tell me about spread more at 25 yards when they're shooting their pigeons, clay pigeons and whatnot.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, so just like the last time, 5-shot, 8-shot. So we've got a lot of these smaller pellets all throughout. This is actually quite a bit better than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. I know you shoot shoot stuff in the air that's moving fast with this stuff. So you can see that your chances at 25 yards of hitting a little clay about that big is pretty great. So cool. Even out of an 18-inch barrel with no choke.
A300 Patrol sucks at trap shooting. I've tried. Not that I'm great at it, but a shotgun with a longer barrel definitely does better. Longer barrel than choke, especially. Okay. So here is our 50-yard.
Oh boy. Okay. Right here, bird shot. Right here, sorry, 8 shot, bird shot, 8 shot, 8 shot, 8 shot. And here are the 5 shots. So a lot of bird shot down here, 8 shot down here. So yeah, 50 yards like I was expecting, not great. We've got more 5 shot on paper than we do 8 shot, but the 8 shot is still connecting. I'm no ballistician or ballistics expert, but I don't think that's really gonna do much to anything at this distance. So I wouldn't use bird shot. All right, thank you guys for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Subscribe, like, comment. If you like what I'm doing, tell me about it. If you don't like what I'm doing, tell me about it. Get in the comments, subscribe, watch my other videos. We got some cool stuff coming up. All right, thanks guys, bye.